Alright, so this is the Protector class Heavy Frigate. I thought it was a neat little design I found. It's based on the concept art for the Cerberus carrier from Mass Effect, although I've done some modifications to it, albeit rather minimal. It's mostly the top side of the carrier mirrored to the bottom, because I wasn't a huge fan of trying to do all the fancy... it's weird because like the wings drop down and then this goes up, which really restricts some firing arcs and makes it harder for me to place weapons, although I guess it makes more sense for the hangar bay. Which I might revisit the ship and then create another ship based off of it, but a little bit larger and probably more carrier focused if I decide to revisit this ship. But I liked the profile. The vertical profile, it really matches up with one of the factions I use. And the coloration actually matches up pretty much exactly with the faction, so I'm like, oh, let's take this concept art and let's build it. So this ship is a little over 400 meters long, somewhere between 400 and 450-ish. Let's see. Oh, it might be a little bit more. 464 meters to the forward, which protrude a little bit further forward. It's about 460 meters. So I thought that I could do some fun things with this as a frigate. So I have these spinal-mounted 480mm cannons, so there's 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, so it's mirrored. So that gives it a very nice super firing angle where each of these guns can shoot directly over the top of the other. So you can get 6 guns firing directly forward, and there's much heavier. Or you can do a 3-gun broadside to either direction. Well, and technically you can do 2 because the way that it's split. And you have these broadside cannons, so we have a layer of, because it's a frigate, it's a lot of these flanking, protecting guns of that, like anti-fighter, anti-corvette, anti-gunship. Really just meant to put up large amounts of lead in the air just to stop whatever's coming at you and make it go away. Then we have the more offensive 240mm cannons, which, aside from the one back here, are all capable of shooting directly forward, so you can get another 20-some guns shooting directly forward. And then we have these Hydra rockets, which again can all shoot directly forward. So you got a lot of variety of defensive and offensive weapons. The only thing I didn't give it that I might have been thinking of that maybe should have, I can speak sometimes, would be these Spartan plasma cannons, which could be just swapped in for any of these, which would give it a little bit more anti-shield abilities. But I decided that rockets are better. So no anti-shield abilities, we're looking for raw firepower. And then we have large, very large thrust banks. So this thing has pretty good horizontal mobility. And then I decided I wanted to throw some longbows in here. So we got about 18 on either side. And they're all linked into one system, so you get fire 36 at anything. And then I decided to use this little cutout here, a bump out, and then I did a cutout in the bump out for a bunch of flechettes, so you can use these on gunships, corvettes, and basically any other frigate, and it'll either strip the shields off of them or just punch a bunch of little holes in them. And then with the front of this ship, I decided just to throw in extra thrusters. I could have thrown weapons in here, and honestly you could if you wanted to. Rip these out, rip out some of the magazines, and then throw some spinal weapons in there. Or just more rockets. Forward firing rockets. And then I decided to use these nacelles as a fuel storage, and it's completely unarmored fuel storage. You can just kind of fly in here and get a look. So there's no armor on these whatsoever, it's just a light armor. So whatever hits it will go straight through. But I decided that the extra fuel and the lighter weight was worth it, because if these blow up, well, nothing's important is over here, where it's closest. And then there is another fuel cell back here, but it is armored, so if this blows up, there's enough distance and enough armor where I don't think it'll affect this one. So you get 3 independent fuel cells, which gives you a little bit of redundancy, but they're all at the rear. Then we have the forward magazine, which stretches basically from this thruster back to about this thruster. So you get a lot of cargo storage as well. Then underneath the bridge, I buried most of the habitable area. So we have a reactor room mostly underneath this gun. We have a med bay and a CIC. And I gave it all of the survival systems. So it has refineries, O2 generators, and assemblers. I just didn't put any upgrade modules on them. And then you have these two smaller cargo containers that you can use to access the full system. And then it also has gravity, so you won't go flying around unless you want to. So here's the reactor room. This uses the azimuth reactors. They're 3 times as efficient per reactor as the regular. So I think the regular reactor is like 300 megawatts of power per, like, whatever it is of uranium. These are 900 each. So you have 6, so that's equivalent to like 18. So it's a lot more compact and powerful, and I just like them more. I think they look cooler. So then we have a very basic CIC. I didn't put any of the fancy LCD screens up. You could if you want. Again, very bare bones, very functional. Same thing with the med bay. You got 5 cryos and the actual med bay itself. Honestly, you could do this entire thing with like a crew of 1 person, and then if you wanted to add a fighter pilot or 2, you could. And the bridge, again, these control panels are mostly for aesthetics. Again, and you could add more customizations to this if you wanted. It's just kind of small by my standards, so I didn't want to crowd it. Some little detailing. I could have put more detailing in here, but I decided not to. Got more thrusters, and then underneath here, I did add 2 dedicated docking points for fighters. So this is the Reaver Heavy Fighter, which is one of the larger footprints that I have. It's either the largest or the second largest. It's the largest by mass of any fighter I have. It's almost more of a bomber. So you can dock 2 of these together, but granted this other one's kind of hanging off in space. And then if you wanted to, you could strip out the turret and then all of these thrusters and extend the docking area forward. I decided not to, but that is always an option. And then we have these docking points. These are mostly meant for docking to other larger ships, where you could dock to a station or a carrier or cargo ship, fuel oiler, whatever you have you. But you could also dock 2 more fighters. It's just these longbows aren't going to be of any use if you do that. So that's it for the internals and the externals. One thing I think I should probably mention before I end this out is that there's a lot of room on the inside that you could make modifications with. So 2 unarmored cargo containers, whatever, it's fine. They're not going to do any harm if they go kaboom. I actually think it makes more sense thematically if you shove these full of missiles, and then if they get blown up, they blow up the entire wing where the missile launchers are. Then we have the armored fuel section. You could, if you just wanted to, do that. There's enough space where the explosion is just going to hit these to the side, and the top is armored, the sides are not. If you lose this fuel cell, it'll just destroy the hell out of your jump drives. But there's more down here. You got 4 shield generators, some of the basic survival suite. There's more of these O2 generators everywhere because of the massive amount of fuel. And I prefer just to have a lot of them so that you can constantly be topping up your fuel, especially in creative mode, because I fly these things around to test their speed and maneuverability. And I prefer to have the tanks at max when I test it so I can see how slow the maximum slowness is. So there's a lot of space in here along the magazine that I didn't use. I wouldn't recommend putting anything important in here because this magazine detonates. Well, it's going to be contained, but it's not going to be totally safe. So put like more batteries or gyroscopes or whatever have you. Out here, because it's armored, just throw some armor behind the thrusters and you can add more tanks, cargo, whatever, reactors. Although I'd probably recommend putting the reactors more over in this particular section. And that's about it. It's got a pretty long jump range of about 3,500 kilometers. I think it's 3,513 with nothing in the actual containers. So then if you weigh it down, it'll probably drop to somewhere around 3,500, maybe 3,490. But that is the Protector Heavy Frigate. and it's a neat little ship I just came up with, and I think it looks pretty good. So let me know what you think.